What if I told you that everything you've been taught about life is just the surface? That underneath your daily thoughts, routines, and ambitions lies a hidden architecture, one that's been influencing your path since the moment you were born. And if you could just see it, if you could just pull back the curtain for a single moment, your perception of reality would shatter. And in its place, something ancient, powerful, and utterly liberating would rise. This isn't motivational fluff. This isn't about positive thinking or chasing success. This is the raw, uncomfortable truth that most people are terrified to confront, because once you see it, there's no going back. For centuries, mystery schools, sages, and hidden orders guarded this wisdom. Not because they were elitist, but because they understood something most don't. Truth is not for the faint of heart. It doesn't coddle. It doesn't entertain. It destroys illusions. And when illusions are destroyed, your life, as you know it, will never be the same again. In this video, we're not here to play it safe. We're going to explore the ancient blueprint of human consciousness, buried beneath religion, society, and even your own personality. We'll uncover how this knowledge was hidden in plain sight, etched into temples, encrypted in myths, and whispered through symbols. We'll decode why you feel stuck, why your reality keeps repeating patterns, and what's really pulling the strings behind the scenes. By the end of this journey, you'll understand. You're not broken. You're not lost. You've simply been asleep, dreaming someone else's dream. But if you choose to wake up now, everything changes. Let's begin. The hidden thread through time, why this wisdom was buried. Long before the modern world rose from concrete and steel, there were whispers, silent truths passed from sage to student, carved into stone, hidden in parables, and encoded in sacred geometry. These weren't just spiritual ideas, they were maps of consciousness, blueprints for awakening. Ancient Egypt called it the Ka and the Ba, the dual forces of the soul. The Vedic text spoke of Maya, the illusion that veils the truth. Hermetic teachings in Hellenistic Alexandria declared, as above, so below. As within, so without. Across continents, cultures that never met told the same story. This reality is a construct, a school, a dream, a test, and hidden within it is the code to liberation. But over time, this knowledge was no longer taught in the open. It was driven underground, sometimes by force, other times by fear. The burning of the Library of Alexandria, the suppression of Gnostic Gospels, the silencing of mystics during the Inquisition. It wasn't just history, it was a deliberate cleansing of inner knowledge. Why? Because an awakened mind cannot be controlled. Because someone who sees beyond the veil is no longer dependent on systems, dogma, or external validation. Because power structures, whether religious, political, or economic, thrive on your disconnection. Your amnesia was profitable. But these truths never vanished. They migrated into symbolism, hidden in tarot cards, the allegory of alchemy, the structure of mandalas, the architecture of cathedrals. They became myths, Persephone descending into the underworld, Odin hanging from the world tree, Christ's resurrection, all metaphors for inner transformation. Even Plato warned us. In his Allegory of the Cave, he spoke of prisoners chained since birth, mistaking shadows on the wall for reality. Only one escapes, and when he returns to free the others, they try to kill him. Because truth is uncomfortable, it demands that we abandon the familiar. This video is your cave escape. And once you see the fire behind the shadows, your life can no longer run on autopilot. That gnawing feeling that something's off. That there's more to this existence than the 9-to-5 grind, the dopamine drip of social media, or chasing fleeting pleasures. That's your soul, remembering. You're not crazy for feeling this way. You're waking up. And you're not alone. In the next section, we'll begin to decode this architecture, the hidden mechanics of reality, the unseen forces that shape your life, and the ancient teachings that reveal how to bend the dream from within. Prepare yourself. The veil is about to lift. What if reality isn't what you think it is? Let's strip this illusion down to its bones. From the moment you're born, you're given a name, a nationality, a religion, or lack of one. You're taught how the world works, what's real and what's not, who you are and who you should be. You're placed into a machine so vast and ancient, you mistake it for reality itself. But none of this is you. It's a role, a costume, and behind it, something far greater waits in silence. The ancient mystics called this illusion the Great Sleep. Not because you're unconscious, but because your true self is buried beneath layers of identity, trauma, conditioning, and memory. You are dreaming yourself into limitation. Here's the secret that shatters the matrix. Your outer world is a mirror of your inner state. It's not metaphor. It's law. It's physics. Think of your life like a film projected onto a screen. What you see on the screen, your relationships, your job, your struggles, isn't the source. It's just the projection. The real film, the real source, is running inside you. If you want to change the movie, you don't throw rocks at the screen. You change the reel. The Hermeticists knew this. They called it the principle of correspondence, as within, so without. You are not a passive observer in this world. You are the projector, the script, the actor, the stage. But most people don't realize this because their programming is so deep, they believe the dream is real. They blame their suffering on others, on fate, on circumstances, and in doing so, they surrender their power to the illusion. What you've been calling reality is a highly personalized simulation, filtered through your beliefs, emotions, and unresolved wounds. If you believe the world is hostile, you will constantly encounter threats. If you believe you're unworthy, life will echo it back to you in every interaction. And if you believe you're powerless, you are. But if you change the lens, you change the world. Not just how you see it, how it responds to you. Here's where it gets deeper. Ancient initiates understood that reality is not a fixed thing. It's malleable, fluid, responsive. It bends to consciousness. And consciousness, when directed with clarity and intention, can pierce through even the most rigid patterns. This isn't magic. It's metaphysical science. You've likely felt glimpses of this before, moments when you just knew something before it happened. When a dream bled into waking life. When synchronicities began lining up so perfectly it felt like something was guiding you. Those moments weren't random. They were the truth trying to leak through. The dream showing its seams. And here's the most revolutionary idea of all. You don't have to wait for life to change. You can initiate the change from within. Right now. Not with wishful thinking, but with inner alignment. In the next section, we'll explore how this works on a deeper level. How ancient symbols, rituals, and teachings actually encoded this metaphysical process of awakening. And why most people never unlock their power, not because it's hidden, but because they're too busy looking outside for what was always inside. Why power was hidden in plain sight. By now, you may feel it, that strange sensation that something ancient is stirring inside you. That's not imagination. It's memory. Because the truth isn't something you learn. It's something you remember. And for thousands of years, those who knew this truth didn't write it down in plain language. They encoded it. They buried it in symbols, rituals, architecture, art, and stories. Because the uninitiated would mock it, misuse it, or worse, weaponize it. Let me show you how deep this rabbit hole goes. Take the labyrinth, a symbol found in Greek temples, Mayan ruins, and medieval cathedrals. To the ordinary eye, it's just a maze. But esoterically, it represents the journey of the soul. Entering the illusion, losing your way, wandering in confusion, until finally, you reach the center, your divine self, and return transformed. Or the serpent, feared in most religions but revered in mystery schools. In Egypt, it was the uraeus, symbol of awakened kundalini energy. In Mesoamerica, the feathered serpent Quetzalcoatl represented divine intelligence. In Hermeticism, the serpent biting its tail, the Ouroboros, was a symbol of infinity, death and rebirth, and the eternal return. Every symbol, every myth, wasn't just a story. It was code. Blueprints for spiritual evolution. Maps for waking up inside the dream. Even the act of resurrection, central to Christianity, isn't just about a man rising from death. It's an inner process, the death of the false self, the ego, the illusion, followed by the rebirth of divine awareness. The cross. It's not just a torture device. It's the union of opposites, heaven and earth, spirit and matter, horizontal and vertical. It's you, at the intersection. But here's the twist. Most people never get this. They take the symbols literally. They fight over dogma, argue over doctrines, and miss the point entirely. And this is how the greatest power was hidden, in plain sight. Not because it was too secret to share, but because it required inner work to understand. You had to be ready. You had to feel the call, and that's what brought you here. Now let's bring this down to earth. Why does any of this matter? Because the moment you start seeing symbolically, reality changes. You stop taking everything so personally. You realize your challenges are part of a greater initiation. You see patterns in chaos, meaning in pain, and guidance in what others call coincidence. You begin to understand that you are the temple. Your body is the altar. Your breath is the sacred chant. Your thoughts are spells. Your emotions are fuel. Your attention, the most powerful currency in the universe. If the great work of alchemy is to turn lead into gold, then the modern alchemist doesn't need a lab. They need awareness. Because the lead is your trauma, your wounds, your doubts. And the gold is your awakened self. But here's the catch. You can't skip steps. You can't bypass the shadow. You have to walk through the underworld of your own psyche, face the parts you've buried, and love what you were taught to hate. That's where the real power lives. And that's why most people never get there. It's easier to stay in the illusion. It's safer to numb out, conform, distract. But you didn't come here for safe. You came here for truth. And in the next section, we'll finally make it practical. How you can apply these teachings to reshape your mind, reprogram your life, and awaken the part of you that has never been asleep, just waiting. How to stop living on autopilot and start creating from within. Now that we've uncovered the truth behind the illusion, how do you actually live this way? How do you remember who you are, not just once, in some flash of insight, but every day, in the thick of real life? Let's make it real. Let's make it sacred. Because knowing isn't enough. You must embody it. Start with the most overlooked ritual of all. Attention. Where your attention goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, reality forms. Your mind is like a tuning fork. If it's vibrating with fear, shame, or chaos, you'll attract experiences that match it. So the first practice is, guard your attention like it's holy. Because it is. When you wake up, don't scroll. Don't rush. Breathe. Before the world hijacks your frequency, reclaim it. Morning ritual, remembering the self. Sit in silence. Just 5 to 10 minutes. Observe your breath. Become the watcher of thoughts, not their puppet. Speak a simple truth aloud. I am not the noise. I am the awareness behind it. Visualize your energy expanding. Feel it move beyond your skin, merging with the field around you. Set a sacred intention. Today, I create consciously. I respond, not react. I remember who I am. This alone rewires the code. Next, reclaim the language of creation, your words. Words are not just tools, they're spells. That's why we call it spelling. Each time you say, I am, you're casting an identity into the quantum field. Stop saying, I'm always anxious. I can't do this. I'm just not lucky. Replace them with, I'm becoming more grounded. I'm learning to trust myself. Life is starting to respond to my inner truth. It may feel fake at first, but your subconscious doesn't care if it's true. It responds to repetition. Repetition is the ritual. Now, take it further. Use symbolic rituals to engage the deeper self. Here's one. The mirror ritual, 5 minutes daily. Stand before a mirror, eyes locked on your own. Say your name aloud. Say, I see you. I remember you. I reclaim you. Ask, what part of me have I abandoned? Listen, without judgment. Then whisper, I'm coming back. This simple act can reconnect you with the inner child, the forgotten artist, the buried mystic within. Now let's address the real challenge, distraction. We live in a world engineered to keep you asleep. Notifications, news cycles, fear-based media, addictive content. It fragments your consciousness. So, once a week, create a sacred fast. No screens, no noise, just stillness, journaling, and walking. Reconnect to nature, because the earth still remembers what you've forgotten. Finally, embrace the most powerful shift of all. Stop asking, what will life give me? And start asking, what will I give life? That question changes your frequency from lack to power. From victim to co-creator. From sleeper to dreamer awake. You don't need to escape the matrix. You just need to stop feeding it with your energy. The real revolution is internal. And it begins with your next breath. But will you follow it all the way through? If you've made it this far, you're not here by accident. You're not just someone watching a video. You're a soul, remembering itself. Because deep down, you've always known. This life wasn't meant to be lived on autopilot. You weren't born just to survive, perform, consume, and repeat. No, you came here to awaken something ancient. Something immortal. Something sacred that's been buried beneath the noise of modern life, but never lost. And now, it's rising. Not as a belief, not as a religion, but as a direct experience of truth that can't be explained, only felt. Yes, the world may still look the same after this. The sky won't open, the ground won't shake, but you will be different. You'll walk through life with new eyes. You'll notice the patterns. You'll hear the silent whispers of the universe nudging you. You'll feel less alone, because you'll realize the universe isn't a cold void. It's alive, and it's listening. The real question now is, will you go back to sleep? Will you scroll to the next distraction, let this just be another interesting video? Or will you pause and let this seed grow? Because everything changes when you start treating your life as a sacred ritual. When you stop waiting for a sign and start being the sign. So here's your invitation. Take what spoke to you here, and don't just think about it. Live it, breathe it, write it down, talk about it, practice it, because the moment you embody truth, the illusion crumbles. And you finally realize, you were never lost, you were just remembering your way home. If this awakened something in you, share it. Let this light ripple out. Leave a comment below and let me know. What are you reclaiming today? Because once you see, you can never unsee, and your life will never be the same again.